Welcome back to Bring On the Shit, Breaking the Cycle and Healing Toxic Mother Daughter Relationships. Episode 6, Breaking Down Communication Barriers. I am your host, Dr. DeQueen Agape. Today, we examine how the ego disrupts effective communication and toxic mother daughter relationships. From misinterpretations to defensiveness reactions, we explore the patterns that perpetuate conflict and misunderstanding and offer practical tips for fostering healthier and more meaningful communication. Communication serves as a cornerstone of any relationship, shaping our interactions and shaping our perceptions of one another. However, within the toxic mother daughter dynamics, communication can become fraught with ego driven patterns, leading to conflict and misunderstandings. In this episode, we shed light on how criticism, defensiveness, and manipulation impact communication and offer guidance on fostering connection and understanding. Ego driven patterns often manifest in communication through lack of empathy and active listening. Mothers may criticize their daughters' choices or behaviors, leading to defensiveness and resentment. Conversely, daughters may feel manipulated or gaslit by their mother's words, eroding trust and intimacy. These patterns perpetuate a cycle of conflict and misunderstanding, making it difficult to cultivate healthy communication and connection. So, how can mothers and daughters foster healthier communication and break free from these destructive patterns? It begins with awareness and intentionality. Both mothers and daughters must recognize the impact of their words and actions on the other person and strive to communicate with empathy and respect. Active listening, validation, and setting boundaries are essential tools in fostering healthier communication, both creating a safe and supportive environment for dialogue. Mothers and daughters can build trust and understanding, laying the foundation for deeper and more meaningful connections. So, how does the ego disrupt effective communication within toxic mother daughter relationships? Well, the ego disrupts effective communication by fostering a cycle of defensiveness and misinterpretations and invalidation. Individuals may prioritize their own ego driven needs for validation, control, or superiority, leading to a lack of empathy and understanding in their communication with each other. This can result in misunderstandings, conflict, and emotional distance within the relationship, as both parties struggle to truly listen to and validate each other's perspectives. Some common patterns of misinterpretation that arise due to the ego's influence on communication include projection, defensiveness, and invalidating emotions. Projection. Individuals may project their own insecurities or biases onto the other person's words or actions, leading to misunderstandings and misinterpretations of their intentions. Defensiveness. The ego driven need to protect oneself from criticism or judgment may lead individuals to interpret the other person's feedback or concerns as personal attacks, triggering defensive reactions. Invalidating emotions. Individuals may dismiss or minimize the other person's emotions or experiences, invalidating their feelings or hindering effective communication and understanding. Here are some ways in which the ego fuels defensive reactions or deflection during conversation between mothers and daughters by instilling a fear of vulnerability and a need to protect one's ego. Individuals may become defensive or deflective in response to perceived criticism or judgment from the other person, prioritizing their own ego driven need to maintain a sense of superiority or control in the conversation. So, how does the fear of vulnerability contribute to the ego's impact on communication within these dynamics? The fear of vulnerability contributes to the ego's impact by leading individuals to avoid expressing authentic emotions or engaging in open and honest dialogues. The ego driven fear of vulnerability may prevent individuals from sharing their true thoughts, feelings, and concerns, for fear of being judged, rejected, or hurt by the other person. So, how does the ego driven need for control hinder open and honest dialogue between mothers and daughters? By fostering a dynamic of power struggle and manipulation, individuals may seek to control the conversation or manipulate the other person's emotion in order to maintain a sense of superiority or dominance within the relationship, leading further to a lack of genuine communication and mutual understanding. What are some barriers individuals face in actively listening and understanding each other's perspectives amidst the ego's influence? But some barriers individuals face in actively listening and understanding each other's perspectives amidst the ego's influence include preoccupation with self, emotional reactivity, and lack of empathy. Preoccupation with self. The ego driven need to protect oneself may lead individuals to focus more on defending their own perspectives or opinions rather than truly listening and understanding the other person's point of view. Emotional reactivity. The ego driven fear of vulnerability may trigger emotional reactivity or defensiveness in response to perceived threats or criticisms, hindering the ability to engage in open and empathetic communication, and a lack of empathy. The ego may foster a lack of empathy and understanding towards the other person's experiences and emotions, making it difficult to truly listen and to validate their perspectives. How can individuals begin to unravel the layers of the ego communication patterns to foster genuine connection and understanding? Well, this can happen by cultivating self awareness. Reflect on your own patterns of communication and the role the ego may play in influencing your interactions with the other person. Practicing empathy. Approach conversations with empathy and compassion toward the other person's experiences and emotions, seeking to truly listen and to validate their perspectives. Prioritizing open communication. Create a safe and supportive environment for honest and open dialogue, where both parties feel comfortable expressing thoughts, feelings, and concerns without fear of judgment or criticism. Seeking professional support. Consider seeking guidance from a therapist or a counselor who can provide tools and strategies for improving communication and fostering healthier dynamics within the relationship. So, what role does empathy play in breaking down the barriers created by the ego in communication within the toxic mother daughter relationship? Empathy plays a crucial role in breaking down the barriers created by the ego in communication within toxic mother daughter relationships by fostering a sense of connection, understanding, and validation. When individuals approach conversations with empathy and compassion towards the other person's experiences and emotions, they can create a supportive and validating environment where both parties feel heard, understood, and valued. How can mothers and daughters cultivate a communication style that promotes mutual respect and validation despite the ego's influence? Well, this can happen by prioritizing active listening, setting boundaries, practicing empathy, and seeking common ground. Prioritizing active listening. Practice truly listening and validating each other's perspectives and emotions without interrupting or invalidating the other person's experiences. Setting boundaries. Establish clear boundaries with the other person to protect yourself from manipulation or invalidation, and prioritize open and honest communication in the relationship. Practicing empathy. Approach conversations with empathy and compassion towards the other person's experiences and emotions, seeking to understand and validate their perspectives. And seeking common ground. Focus on finding areas of agreement and mutual understanding rather than engaging in power struggles or conflicts driven by the ego. As we conclude today's episode, let's reflect on a key takeaway. Effective communication requires vulnerability and empathy, qualities that the ego tends to undermine. In toxic mother daughter relationships, criticism, defensiveness, manipulation, and communication breakdowns are common. leading to misunderstandings, resentment, and further disconnection. However, by fostering self awareness, intentionality, empathy, and open communication, mothers and daughters can break free from the destructive patterns and cultivate healthier, deeper connections within their relationships. That wraps up another enlightening episode of Bring On the Shit, breaking the cycle and healing toxic mother daughter relationships. Join us next time as we explore the ego's impact on friendships. Until then, remember, communication is the bridge that connects hearts. Build it with care and compassion. In a minute.